Hello everyone, welcome to my channel about cross stitching, mostly, maybe a little film thrown in there. I am Marlisa, Stitchy Noir on Instagram and on YouTube here, and this is my first floss tube, and I'm really excited to share some of my cross stitching with you and to chat a bit. So before I get started, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself and myself as a stitcher particularly. I started stitching when I was in high school, but needlepoint, which I did through college, and I really wanted to learn how to cross stitch, but I didn't really start that until I was married. And my mother-in-law cross stitched, and I really was excited to get into it. So I've been cross stitching for about 25 years at this point, and gone through a lot of changes and learned a lot, and so really wonderful to be able to watch Flosstube videos and be part of the cross stitch community that way. So I am an Aida stitcher. I have tried stitching on other fabrics, on linen and on Lugana. I don't really like the over 2, and I just liked the Aida stitching better, and I didn't feel like I wanted to just force myself to stitch on something that I didn't really want to, since this is supposed to be a fun and enjoyable hobby. And especially now, since there are so many wonderful Aida fabrics, hand-dyed Aida fabrics that are available, I'm very happy being an Aida stitcher exclusively. I'm an in-hand stitcher. I stitch in hand, and I have used a Q-snap occasionally on larger projects, but I really prefer for my hand fatigue and my my arms and whatever. Stitching in hand just works well for me, so that's what I do. And when you're using Aida, you can certainly do that comfortably. So I thought that what I would do today is show you some of my finishes from designers, just a sampling. Since normally that's what you would do first, right? You'd show some finishes, but since this is my first video, I'll just show a sample of previous finishes from designers that I really like. And this is just a sample. There's so many more designers that I like, but just to give you an idea of what kinds of things I like to stitch. So the first one I will show you is from Nora Corbett, and it is Leo. And my birthday is next month, so I thought this might be a nice one to show. And this is this was done on a 14 count Silk Weaver solo. Silk Weaver is also hand dyed by Jim on Etsy. Hand dyes by Jim on Etsy, excuse me. So I did this around the time of my birthday a few years ago, and I just love the way that the golds and the browns really just pop on this purple fabric. And she just turned out really, really nice, and I love her Medusa-like tendrils here of hair, and the way it comes into this mane-like effect. So this is Leo. I have done other Nora and Mirabilia designs as well, and maybe we'll see this in a future video. So next is a bendy stitchy design, and this is called Hildy Goes Camping. And for those of you who know Michelle's Hildy line, the adorable little witch Hildy, who goes on so many wonderful adventures, and I just love her escapades. And so in this one, this is a summer design, and she is having a little campfire with the Chupacabra and telling ghost stories of Chupacabra here as well. So so I've done several Hildy designs, and this was done on let me just here check's notes. This was 14 count treasure trove from Silk Weaver. So there is that, and this was a frame that I picked up at a thrift store. You will see if you continue to watch my channel that I love thrift store frame finds, and I have found a lot of really cool and inexpensive ways to frame things. I frame a lot of things myself. Some of the larger ones or tricky ones, like the Nora Leo, I will take to my LNS, the Cross Stitch Cupboard in Fort Lauderdale. who they are absolutely wonderful, wonderful shop. If you're in the area, definitely check them out. And so I will take other things that are like that to frame, but I will do a lot of framing myself. So the next one is something I frame myself. And some of you have been doing the Witchy Stitchers Nostalgic Tarot, and I know some of you are doing it large, all of the cards, and more power to you. I don't think I could do that, but all the cards are just really wonderful that have come out. They're so vibrant and colorful, and such creative designs. Meg is really a genius. So this one is one that was the first one that came out, the Death card. And let me just hold it a little bit back so you can see. The frame is just a white frame that I got on Amazon, probably, I think, on 14 count black Ada. And when you first look at these patterns, they you think, well, it's not that won't be so bad, so big. And they're not big. I mean, this I think is a 6x8 frame, maybe. Not sure, but not huge. But there's a lot of stitching. The cards are dense, and if you're doing them, but just the DMC, the rainbow border, all the colors that are chosen are just so bright. And this one I did in honor of my mom. She loved unicorns, and I thought that this would be appropriate because here's this amazing, big, bright, beautiful unicorn just stomping on death. So, so there you go. Next, this one, to continue with the Zodiac theme, this one is a Satsuma Street. Also, Jody Rice, amazing use of DMC, and so colorful and vibrant and bright patterns. I've done several designs by Satsuma Street, and this one is the Capricorn from her Zodiac line. And just look at these awesome, beautiful colors. This is also in 14 count black Ada. I do a lot of black Ada stitching, you'll see. So and this frame, I framed myself. This frame I got at AC Moore when AC Moore was still in business here. I don't know if AC Moore is still around where you are, or if they're out of business entirely, but they were great, and they had these wonderful unfinished wooden frames, square in different sizes, which can be difficult to find, pretty inexpensive and affordable. And I just used some metallic paint on this to pick up the turquoise in the pattern. And there he is. And I think I said, I don't know if I said I made this for my husband, who's a Capricorn. And I've done a couple of the other Zodiac patterns as well. So, all right. This next one is Barbara Anna, and this one actually the more recent one, I think I finished this last year. This is Blue Dreams, and this is on, hang on, 14 count Storm Ada from Silk Weaver. And the model for this one, as you may have seen if you know this pattern, the model for this one is on a sort of a terracotta fabric. And I really wanted to, I didn't want the browns to get lost in the terracotta the way I thought that they might. So I was trying to find a blue that the blues wouldn't get lost in. And I really like this choice, especially because of the white modeling here. These clouds that are coming in over the lighthouse. And I was a little worried about the birds not showing up, but they turned out okay. So this is Blue Dreams by Barbara Anna. I do a lot of nautical stitching as well. Really, and here's another this is the last finish that I'll show you. And this is Lighting the Way by Silver Creek Samplers. And this is on an unknown Ada. I don't know what it is, probably Silk Weaver, but I love the font. Silver Creek's fonts are just amazing. The ivy just climbing up the lighthouse, and just and of course the message, I think, is lovely. All right, so let me show you what I'm working on now. I tend not to have a lot of whips. So there's another thing to get to know about me as a stitcher. I know many people have 10, 20, 50, hundreds of whips, and that's great. I can't handle that many. I feel a little anxious. I like to start things, but I just don't, I want to feel like what I have started is going to be manageable sometime in my life. So I tend to have maybe 15 to 20 whips, and that includes seasonal ones that are put away to work on during, Halloween, Christmas, and so forth. And then there's a few that are just, I'm not sure about, and you may see them in a future video of just sort of where I am and where I'm going with these whips that I just can't seem to finish. But I will work on maybe about 5 projects at a time and rotate. So I used to be a monogamous stitcher, not anymore. I like to have the variety of working on a number of different things. So let me show you what I've been working on, say, in the last month. I don't know how often I'll film, but I figure 3 to 4 weeks. So this is kind of a good sampling of where I am as far as my current stitching. So first, working on Bluebird Salute by Luminous Fiber Arts, this cute little patriotic bluebird. But I decided to do it on black. I was just talking about how I stitch so much on black Aida, and here's another one. So this is on 16 count black Aida, and I just kind of clamped this to a board so you can see how this is looking. And I really like the way it's turning out. I think that the blues and the whites and the reds really pop. I did have to change the coloring of the legs and the beak on the model, on the original pattern here. It's kind of like a very dark gray, and it wasn't showing up on the black. So I made it a little bit of a lighter gray. And then another change that I'm gonna do is, if you look here, the fireworks are this sort of gold, kind of brown color, and I'm going to use silk lame braid sparkly to maybe do red, green, purple. I have to kind of see what's in my stash and what might work for fireworks, just so it's more colorful. And I think that's really going to look striking on the black, sort of a night sky sort of effect. So I'm going to aim to finish this by 4th of July, and I don't think that's going to be too hard. I want to get it up and in the decor by then. Okay, next. I am working on Pigeon Coop designs. I'm sorry about the glare from my iPad. I'm trying to get it to not do that. Pigeon Coop designs Alligator Creek. And this is my first Max Pigeon design that I'm doing, and I love it. As you may know, if you are a fan of his designs, he's got several ecosystem series, 2 to 3 or a few patterns to represent different ecosystems. And this latest one that he's done is Everglades, which is very close to me where I live. So here's where I am, and I've got my thread kind of wonky here, but this is that one, and I'm almost done with this. This is on just plain old 14 count white Aida, which until I did this, I could not remember the last time I just did something on a plain white fabric. But it's really essential for this because, as he does with many of his patterns, the negative space is so important here. And so here and here and here. And so you've got to really, I think, have the white to make the other colors pop. And there's only maybe half a dozen colors in this pattern, but the way they are blended, it really creates so much depth and three-dimensionality to the scene. So just getting going on that alligator there, lurking. So that should be fun when it gets finished and hung. So now on to some larger patterns. This next one is called Road Trip, and it's by Art Cross Stitches. This was a gift to me from a friend of mine last year. For my husband and I had our 25th wedding anniversary, and we were about to go on an epic road trip doing Route 66, which we did, and it was amazing. So it was about 2 weeks, and we started in Chicago, we flew to Chicago, rented a vehicle, and that's where the route starts. So we drove all the way through Oklahoma and Missouri and Texas and Kansas and New Mexico and Arizona, and ended up in Santa Monica, California, where the route ends. And it was just wonderful. If you love nostalgia and Americana and love road trips, it's not an easy trip to be able to, especially in 2 weeks, to see a bunch of things. But I highly, highly recommend it if you are the adventurous type, which I wasn't really sure I was before this, but it was such a great trip. So anyway, so my friend gave me this road trip pattern, which now that I went on the trip, this is so perfect, because just obviously the vehicle traveling down the road, this sort of old-fashioned truck car, I'm not sure exactly which it's going to turn out to be, but all the colors, the mountains, and the colors of the rock formations in the west that we went through, this really was very accurate to our experience. So, and this is on, I don't know, it's an antique white Ada, not sure of the count, 14 or 16, and I'm halfway done. And when I say I'm halfway done, I'm literally, this is the halfway mark, and that's how I decided to do it, just straight down the one side, and then I'm going to do the other side. But it is a full coverage, not huge, but it's 116 by 116, so you know, not tremendous, but it's a lot of stitching, because every stitch is covered there. So so when this is done, I'll frame it and put it near all of our little Route 66 memorabilia that we collected. I also did a pillow, a Route 66 pillow, that I'll show in maybe another video. But so that's, since it's summer and feeling the road trip vibe, one year later, since we did our trip, putting some time into that. Then I have a couple of other very large pieces that I'm working on. This is a full coverage, and it's big. I think it's going to be about 16 by 20 when it's framed. This is Medusa Imperatrix by Medusa, designed by the arts by Medusa Dollmaker, and it was a Gecko Rouge kit. So this was a birthday gift from my brother to me in 2022. And it's the biggest thing that I've ever tried to tackle. I love Medusa, got lots of Medusa stuff, and so this was definitely one that was up my alley. But it's big. It's very big, and it was daunting. And when I first started, I didn't really know how to tackle this. I'd never done a full coverage like that. I did like a small full coverage, but I mean, there's something of this size. So I watched some videos, you know, and got some full coverage tips from folks. And I think this is going to fit, and I might have to just kind of go out of the way here. So here we go. This is where we are. It's on 16 count Easy Grid Ada. Back up a bit. And this is 45% done. It may be more than that, because the last 4 pages are not full pages, and they are mostly this purple color, so that's gonna go fast. So it's definitely more than 45%. So I'm fairly close to being halfway done. So I mean, I love it. It's a big project. But some pages are very confetti heavy, some pages not. And there she is. She is very regal and imposing. My routine with this one is to do 2 days a week. So I stitch maybe 3 to 4 hours a day on average. I try, usually in the evenings. And I felt like I needed a routine with her. I had to, you know, but not every day, or else I didn't want to get burned out. So my routine is Wednesdays and Sundays. I work on her. And this puts me on a fairly good schedule. I can do a page in about 2 months at that rate, and that's fine. I mean, it will get done. I can see, now that I'm getting close to half, I can see the end, and I'm excited. I'm very excited about her, and so she's definitely one of those very large, long-term projects. And then this other project that I'm working on, which let me show you. This is this one is called, hang on, First Flight. Again, sorry for that bit of ring light glare. And this is by Passione Ricamo. I'm probably butchering the name of the designer. And this is, again, this I sort of have done in memory of my mom, because this reminds me of the two of us, and my friend Susan actually sent me this design and said, this reminds me of you and your mom. And here is where we are, and I'm gonna have to just, let's see. Yeah, this is, it's very big and very wide. I don't know exactly how far I am on this one yet, but the big bulk of her dress is, of the main fairy's dress is done, and now I'm just getting going on the little fairy there. So she's getting there. And this is on 18 count Sprite by Picture This Plus. See, another different fabric than Silk Weaver, and it's kind of wrinkled here, but there's a lot of metallics and blends and other fun things. But here's that those flowers are right now, that's the little cherub. So let me show you the picture again so you can get an idea of how it is. Yeah, so that one I started also a few years ago, and I work 1 day a week on that, and it'll get done. You know, it's just kind of, you know you're in it for the long haul, and you accept it, and it's a project that's meaningful to me, so I definitely want to finish that up. So that's what I'm working on right now. I am I don't have any haul to show you, except what I have is related to my plan. So let me just go into that, I guess. My plan for the next month or so, to work on my existing whips that I've got here in the rotation, and hopefully I would expect to finish the Bluebird and Alligator Creek in the next couple of weeks. And today, actually, I am going to start on this one. Leave a light on, and my haul is basically getting the materials for this, doing it all in the called for a Navy Ada by Teresa Layman Designs. And I actually bought this pattern in a shop in Tulsa, Oklahoma, on the epic Road 66 trip that we took. We had to, of course, stop at a cross stitch shop on the way. So this is my other plan. I'm starting it today, gonna get going on that. It's big. Let's see, how big is it? 187 by 187. Okay, not huge, but you know, it's a good size. So gonna work on that, and I love all of the colors and the various blues. It calls for Gentle Art and Weeks Dye Works and other flosses that are really nice variegated blues and grays and things like that. So that is my main plan, in addition to working on the rest of all of this. And I'm going to start Halloween. That's the other thing that I wanted to mention. A lot of my whips and other things that I have going on and finishes are seasonally related. So not today, but some other day I will show some of my seasonal stitching. And I absolutely love Halloween. So I've got lots of Halloween finishes. I've got one Halloween whip that's going on, plans for Halloween. So I think I'm going to start Halloween on July 1st, working on that and get that going. So that's going to be the immediate future. So before I finish up, I did also want to give a shout outs to some Flosstubers that really have inspired me. When I started watching Flosstube, I only started a few years ago, actually, and when I started watching, I really wanted to give props to the folks who have really, I enjoy watching, and they've really inspired me personally. So this is not an exhaustive list, just a little piece of who I wanted to recognize. Helen D, East Coast Crafter, she's wonderful, and she has taught me so much in her tutorials about finishing. So I think that she's great. Carolyn Zook, Zook Stitches, so lovely and relaxing to listen to, and such a wonderful, cheerful disposition. The Sunshine Stitchers, EJ, Shelia, they were one of the first Flosstubers that I watched, and they're local to me in South Florida, and so they're so much fun, and really enjoyed listening to them. Michelle G, Bendy Stitchy, who I already talked about with my FFOs at the beginning. Wonderful designer, wonderful human. Debbie, Mama Bear Stitchery, love her videos and the choices of things that she stitches, and I love that she finishes things. And I, as a more of a progress stitcher than a process stitcher, that is, I really do like to finish things, and so I love to see her process turning into progress there. Julie, Kansas City Girl in Colorado World, love her videos, and if you like books, she also has lots of fun chat about books. Amber, Rogue Mama Stitcher, one of the sweetest Flosstube personalities and Instagram supporters that I know. And I mentioned the Cross Stitch Cupboard in Fort Lauderdale, my LNS, my local needle workshop. They're wonderful in so many ways. And what I wanted to do at the end of this, and I think I'm going to start to, when I do other videos, I'm going to do this. Many stitchers, when they're done talking about cross stitch, they'll talk about other things, books or other kinds of crafts that they're working on. And I thought what I would do is just talk about a movie. One of my loves is classic film. I'm a college professor and I teach film studies. And I thought I would just give you a little bit of a spotlight of a film, and anything I talk about is going to be available on YouTube. There's so many great classic films that are now in the public domain and available on YouTube, and check them out. So this time, the film that I wanted to talk about, which maybe some of you have seen, is Ernest Hemingway's short story turned into a film, The Killers. This is from 1946, and it's an amazing film directed by Robert Siodmak. It is starring Burt Lancaster and Ava Gardner, both very young and within their first major film roles. They look beautiful, and the film is so dark and moody, and it's as many film noirs are. It is a crime film, a detective story. Essentially, it's more of a mystery than a detective story, although the narrative of the film centers on an insurance investigator who is a kind of detective trying to find out what happened to Ole Sweet Anderson, played by Lancaster, what led to his death. As I mentioned, this was based on a short story by Ernest Hemingway called The Killers. It's extremely short. If you find it online, you will be finished with it in maybe a half an hour, if not less. And it only focuses on basically the first part of the film, which is the Swede getting hunted down by two assassins and getting killed, and nobody knows why. Well, what the film does is sort of open up to what might be that why. And Hemingway, who notoriously did not like any of the films made about his work while he was living, loved this film, and it was his favorite of his adaptations of his short stories or novels. So check it out. It's really great, as many film noirs are. It's not long. Most film noirs tend to be on the 90 minutes-ish side, maybe a little bit longer or shorter, and some are even shorter, like more toward 60 or 70 minutes. So these films aren't long. They're on YouTube, and if you watch it, I really would be interested to what you think in the comments, and I would be interested in what you think in the comments on any of this stuff, and I will say goodbye for now. Thank you for spending some time with me today. Be strong, be brave, be true, and take care of yourselves. And until next time.